Right off the bat, change negative 420 to radians. Basic type question right there. Take negative 420, go to your reference sheet, and again, these conversions will be on the top of your test tomorrow. What do you multiply the degrees by to make it into radians? So given degrees, what do I multiply it by to get it into radians? Here we go. Start the show off today. Let's roll. 11. Here we go. Liz, what do I have to multiply radians degrees by to get it into radians?
Pi over 180.
Good start, Liz. Thank you. Pi over 180. All right. When you're giving me radians, you should have pi in your answer, so keep it there. The only thing you guys need to do after you keep pi in your answer, reduce. You go to your calculator and you put negative 420 over 180 into a fraction so it can reduce it for you. And there it is, negative 7 over 3. So in radians, negative 7 pi over 3. Don't do anything with, don't touch the negative. I'm just asking you to convert it so the negative stays there. Boom! We're good. Any issues from you guys? Questions there? Not too bad. Basic question. There's going to be questions just like that tomorrow. Basic. All right, number 2, we got a little work with because I didn't feel too comfortable after the day we finished these. You got a flower bed, planted in the shape of an arc along the edge of the, okay. You can read all about the fancy garden and the flower bed if you'd like. Here's where my eyes turn to, is the second sentence. If the circle has a radius, the only time this unit we've dealt with circles, radiuses, is when I showed you guys this formula. Theta equals S over R. That is the only time in this unit that we've dealt with problems involving circles and a radius. So if I see circle, radius tomorrow, I know I need this formula. Not given to you either. That's the one formula you're going to need tomorrow to know on your own. And that's why I need to see blank scrap paper so I know you didn't write it down before we start. All right, theta equals S over R. Theta is the angle in degrees. Again, son of a gun, angle in radians. All right, theta is my angle in radians. S, arc length, just to review this, R, radius length. Okay, everybody good? All the pieces? Again, a problem tomorrow starts by saying circles, radiuses, arc lengths. Boom, theta equals S over R. All right, I got 2 numbers here, though. I got 5 yards. That's got to be plugged into this formula. And I got 1.5 radians. That's got to be plugged into this formula. Whoever I call on next, I'll let you pick. You can pick 1.5 and tell me where it goes, or you can pick 5 yards and tell me where it goes. All right, read the problem carefully so you know what is attached to each. All right, so you pick which one you want to start with and tell me where to plug it in for. Boom, 2, here we go. Isaiah, do you want to start with the 5 yards or the 1.5 radians?
Start with the 5.
Okay, if the circle has a radius of 5 yards, what variable is the 5 going in for?
The S.
Ready? If the circle has a radius of 5 yards.
What is it called? It's the first one.
No. You're not reading it, Isaiah. The circle has the radius is 5 yards. What represents radius in my formula? What letter represents radius?
The R.
The R. So where I see R is 5. The radius is 5 yards. Everyone good? All right. What about the 1.5 radians? Radians. That's an angle measure now. 1.5 radians. Here we go. Bassett, where should I put the 1.5 if it's radians and angle measure?
In the theta.
Theta. So 1.5 equals, and it does say what's the measure of the arc. So you guys are solving for S. 1.5 radians equals S over 5. There's not too much help I can give you now in solving this. You can put the 1.5 over 1, cross multiply. You can multiply both sides by 5. No matter how you get there, the arc length is 7.5. The angle is theta, the r is the radius, and s is the arc length. And I can tell you tomorrow, I even changed I don't want any fancy gardens or anything tomorrow. I literally just came out and said circle, radius, arc length. Go at it. Okay? So there's no questions on what each piece is. Anything you want to ask here before we get to 3, which is probably going to take us the longest time today, is number 3. All right, here you go. 3. Find everything that's missing, all the missing angles and all the missing sides of triangle RST. All right, all the missing angles and sides. Look at triangle RST. What type of triangle is it? I put a little something there at angle T for you. What type of triangle is RST? Here we go. Anna, what type of triangle is RST?
A right triangle.
It's a right triangle. You guys, tomorrow anyway, you only have 2 options for a right triangle tomorrow. If you're dealing with the right triangle, you have Pythag and you have sine, cosine, tangent, aka Sohcahtoa, which I will not spell for you tomorrow either. Sohcahtoa. I threw out the 30, 60, and 45, 45, so you don't have to worry about that. So those are the only 2 options you have available when dealing with the right triangle. I want to find the missing side first, TS. All right, so let's find TS. Out of Pythag and Sohcahtoa, which one is the best one to use to find TS right now? Look at the triangle. I already know 2 sides, and I'm trying to find TS, the 3rd side. So out of these 2, Pythag and Sohcahtoa, which one is the best to use here? What do you got, Caroline? What do you think?
Pythag.
Yes. 2 sides trying to find the 3rd. Good. A squared plus B squared equals that good old C squared. Can you guys plug them in for me now? Where's the 20 go? Where's the 10 radical 5 go? Where's the variable I'm solving for? Here you go. Plug it in now. Tell me what to plug in. Here we go. Donovan, tell me what to plug in. Okay, good times. Good times. Actually have to be in front to answer a question, I guess. Here we go. Kian. I'm on fire today. Not here. Kian, not here. Here we go. Going Bassett. Going back to you now. Finish this.
20 squared
Good.
plus b squared equals 10 to the square root of 5.
Good job. All squared. Everybody's good? All right, here you go. Grab those calcs. Make sure they're on high blast. I got 20 squared, which is 400, plus b squared. Hey, I'm going to warn you guys right now. I'm going to warn you. Take a look at my calculator. Some of you guys may be doing this, 10 radical 5, and then squaring it like this, and then maybe getting 50. That's no. If you write it like that, your calculator is only going to square the radical 5, and that's it. You need to square the whole darn thing. So put that bad boy in parentheses. Because if you write it like I have it up there, it's just going to square the radical 5. What am I doing? Act like you've been there. $500, okay? 500 over there. And I'm pretty confident most of you guys know what to do algebraically from here. Move the 400 over. So you get b squared equals 100. And then take the square root of both sides. So that side's 10. Okay, that side's going to be 10. Everyone all right on there? Not too bad. It's just a little tricky on the 10 radical 5 what you got to type in your calculator. So just put it all in parentheses. All right, what about the angles now? Woo! What about the angles? You pick an angle to start with. I don't care. Here you go. Nick, you pick, boss. What do you want, R or S?
R.
Got it. Well, let's do find angle R, everyone. There's no, you could have said S and been fine. Find angle R. You guys in agreement? Pythag is not going to help us find an angle. It only helps us find sides. So I am left with, the only thing I'm left with is Sohcahtoa to use here. Nick said, we're finding angle R. Angle R. So I need your help right now. What's the 20 and what's the 10 radical 5 with R? Is it opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse? Because I got to figure out which one of these three in Sohcahtoa I need to use. So what's the 20 and what's the 10 radical 5 going from angle R? Here we go. Eliana, either one, I don't care. Whatever you want to give me here.
Sohcahtoa.
Yep. So what's the 20 and what's the 10 radical 5?
So the 20 is the adjacent.
Good work. And what about 10 radical 5?
It's the hypotenuse.
Good. So Eliana just gave me adjacent and hypotenuse. And according to Sohcahtoa, if you have those two sides, you use cosine, COS. Okay, this is what we did on Friday for you guys that missed class on Friday. Cosine of the angle. Sometimes there's a degree measure in there. It's not there now, so you can just put an X here. Cosine of the angle I'm trying to find equals adjacent over hypotenuse. 20 was adjacent. Hypotenuse was 10 radical 5. And I'm going to stop there so you guys can catch up and breathe a little bit. You guys that were here on Friday, there was a special place we needed to go to on the calculator that helped me find an angle when using Sohcahtoa. When finding an angle only using Sohcahtoa, anybody that was here on Friday, remember where I go on the calculator?
I remember.
Okay, go ahead, Caroline.
The inverse, you have to do sec cosine to get the -1 thing, and then
Yep.
you switch the fraction.
Yep. Anytime I need to find an angle using sine, cosine, or tangent, I go to my calculator and do what's the inverse button, which is to the -1. So in this case, I do second cosine, and I plug in the fraction that you just made, 20 over 10 radical 5. Only when finding an angle using Sohcahtoa. So that angle, what are we rounding it to? Nearest degree is going to be about 27 degrees, if I round correctly. 27 degrees. Only when finding an angle do I want to use the second button. If you find a side, I'll go over that in a second in problem number 4. Are we okay there on finding an angle? Because yes, I am going to ask you to find an angle using Sohcahtoa tomorrow. All right, we have one more angle to find, which is angle S. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. Could you do sine, cosine, tangent again? You could from angle S now and use 20 and 10 radical 5. But how many degrees are in a triangle? Let's make this quick, right, guys? Let's make this quick. How many degrees in a triangle? 180. You already know one angle's 90, and you know a second angle we just found was 27. All right, here we go. So angle S, 63 degrees. Everyone all right here? Pythag, sine, cosine, tangent. All going to be on there tomorrow. Anything you want to ask before we go to the next one, which may involve the same thing? All right. You got to love these word problems. Angel Falls, Venezuela. Anybody been? Nope. Okay, let's move on. It's 3,212 feet tall. All right, so I know I'm going to get a right triangle out of this bad boy when I start these type of problems. Tell me how tall things are. And so it's tall, 3,212 feet tall, 3, 2, 1, 2, tall. Angle of elevation is 35. If you missed Friday, we also went over this. Angle of elevation, ground looking up, ground looking up, 35 degrees. Okay, always right there, ground looking up. What's his distance from the base of the falls to the nearest tenth of a foot? Do we know what side we're looking for here? Distance from the base, the bottom base of the falls of to the nearest tenth. So bottom, base, here you go. All right, it's a right triangle, so it's either Pythag or Sohcahtoa. Definitely not Pythag. So Sohcahtoa it is. Go from the angle you put in, 35. Somebody tell me what the x and the 3, 2, 1, 2 are. Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. What are both measures now? Here we go. Dan, what are both measures here? You can pick, start with either one.
What's the number on the left?
3,212. That's the what?
That would be the adjacent.
To 35?
Oh no, to 35, that would be the opposite.
Always go from the angle in the problem. That's not the right angle. And what about the x?
Oh, the x, that would be the adjacent.
That would be adjacent. Good. So I have O and A, everybody now. O and A. Which leads me to tangent. Now, last problem, we put an x because I was looking for the angle, but now I know the angle. It's 35 degrees. The tangent of 35 is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side, the one I'm looking for, O over A. Now, I don't need my inverse button because I'm not looking for an angle. I'm looking for a side. So if I'm looking for a side tomorrow using Sohcahtoa, that's when I want to start cross multiplying. Now you can start cross multiplying when you're finding a side. So go ahead. I'll do it with you. 3,212 equals cross multiply. Times x. All right, what's your last move here, guys? Your last move to get x all by itself. Your last move. Okay, Isaiah, here we go. Redemption here. How do I get the x by it? What do I have to do with the tangent of 35 to get the x by itself?
Subtract it.
What's happening between the tangent of 35 and x?
Multiplication.
So
you have to divide it.
Divide both sides by the tangent of 35. And now you go to your calculator, everyone. Also, I should mention, nobody's asked me this yet, but if you weren't here on Friday, you might want to make sure you hit your mode button on your calculator. Make sure you're in degree mode is highlighted in black. All right, nobody asked me yet, but if you weren't here on Friday, you need to be in degree mode and keep in that mode tomorrow. All right, so 3,212 divided by tangent of 35, put it in a fraction template. You're looking at what here? 4,587.2 feet. Whew. Questions from you guys? Because this is probably the last time today I'll do a sine, cosine, tangent one with you. If you want to come after school today, I'll do plenty more with you. But as far as today's class go, I think that's it. All good? Okay, let's get to the first part of this unit, first couple days. Graph an angle. So number 5, graph a buck 20 for me. So you're going to put it on the graph. I'm not too sure if Formative, the place you're taking the test on tomorrow, allows you to do different colors, but if they do, might be a good idea. Show me one side of your angle is on the x-axis always. The other side, 120, what quadrant am I working in now? Buck 20, what quadrant? Let's roll. Keegan's not here. Here we go. Liz, what quadrant? 120.
The second.
Yep, good job, Liz. Second quadrant. Again, I am going to look to make sure where your arrow is. Is it closer to 90 or is it closer to 180 as far as 120 goes? It should be closer to the 90. If it's halfway in between, put it halfway in between. If you want full credit, which I'm sure most of you would enjoy tomorrow, full credit, got to also put on, what am I missing here? Because this isn't going to get full credit right now.
A clockwise arrow, or counterclockwise. Sorry.
Yep, I need your rotation arrow telling me you're going counterclockwise because it's positive. Good. Second part, give me the reference angle now. Give me the reference angle. It's got to be positive and it's got to be less than 90. And you should only be using 360 and 180 to calculate any reference angle. So what's my reference angle for 120 now? Here we go. Hunter, thoughts?
Negative 240.
Okay, you're doing the 360 thing. Remember, hey, you're doing co-terminal, Hunter. Reference angle. X-axis and the terminal side, right? I need to find that angle right there. That's my reference angle. You're doing co-terminal. Go ahead.
60.
Yep. Everybody's doing 180 minus 120, 60 degrees. All right. Are you going to be all right if it's in the third quadrant? If an angle's in the fourth, finding the reference angle. Any questions there before we get to part B? Ask away, guys. This is your review here. The best way is just to go problem by problem because there's usually I would, as you guys know, usually I'd say look at this problem, look at this one, but everything's on there. All right, everything. Negative 5 pi over 4, graphing that one. Well, as you guys know, that's in radians because I see the pi. But I need to know what it is in degrees to be able to graph it. I'm going to go a little quicker here. I know some of you guys would just multiply by 180 over pi, get it in degrees. I'm going to go a little quicker. Anybody remember from our days last week what pi over 4 was in degrees? Pi over 4? Anybody have that at, what was it?
45.
45, yep, good job. Now, hey, you don't need to know that tomorrow. You don't. All right? If you guys just want to go to the top of your test, multiply by what you have to multiply by and put it into degrees, that's fine. It's just for going quicker for my purposes today so I can get to more problems. So this is negative 5 times 45 because I know pi over 4 is 45. Okay, keep going. That's negative 225 in degrees. All right, where's negative 225? And if you don't like negative 225, you guys know, make it positive, add 360 to it if you don't like it negative. So either you're using negative 225 now, or you're using, oh boy, I have no idea now. Anybody add 360? It's making my head. 135?
05.
It's not 105.
It'd be 135.
Negative 225 plus 360, 135. All right, regardless, 135 or negative 225, what quadrant am I in? Bassett, what quadrant am I in, regardless of what you used?
Quadrant 2.
Yep, good job. So 135, that's closer to, I think that's right in, but that's halfway. Right there. All right, I am going to be picky, though, with the rotational arrow because the original angle, negative 5 pi over 4, was negative. I don't care which one you use to graph it, but the original was negative, so make sure your arrow goes clockwise. And now let's find the reference angle. What's my reference angle here? Again, if you need to highlight it, it's the angle that's going to be positive and less than 90 right here. What is that reference angle? And I feel like I should have given you a different quadrant than 2 because we just did that. But all right, how you finding that reference angle? Still want to hear from you. Here you go, Ella. How you finding that reference angle?
I subtracted 180 from 135.
Yeah, that's fine. And what'd you get?
45.
45. Everyone's all good? And again, I know I probably should have put different ones on, and maybe there's more questions like it, but if you have an angle in quadrant 3, how do you find the reference angle? If you have an angle in quadrant 4, how do you find the reference angle? Right? Be prepared for the other quadrants too. Can I answer anything from you guys? All right, ready for 6? And then I'm going to start skipping around so I hit some different type of problems. So number 6, you got a 470-degree angle. Draw it. 470. $470. Whew. That's a large angle, isn't it? Make it smaller. How do I make 470 a little smaller? Here you go, Liz. How do I make it a little smaller?
Subtract 360.
Yep. If some of you guys are comfortable using 470 to find the quadrant, I'm okay with that. If some of you guys like it a little smaller, let's subtract 360. And now that ends up being 110 degrees. And I know I'm not even going to ask people anymore. Once again, third in a row, it ends up in quadrant 2. Make sure it's closer to 90. Ooh, whoa. What about your rotation arrow here? Because, hey, that right there, what I just did is not going to cut it. That's not 470 degrees. Absolutely not. We got to do the old pinwheel. My favorite. Even if you make it smaller, you have to graph the original with the correct arrow. All good there, graphing. All right, now we get... Go ahead, I'm listening, sorry.
How are we going to draw these on the test or quiz?
I believe the 1 or 2 questions, Caroline, I actually put an XY axis there for you.
Okay.
What do you mean? You're going to have a stylus in your hand, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if formative has different colors. If they don't, just make sure you clearly bold the x-axis here, and then whatever quadrant you're going into. You should be fine.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. What's the smallest positive measure that's coterminal? Remember, coterminal, add or subtract 360. I'm looking for a smallest positive one. So I started with 470. I see that word coterminal tomorrow. I'm thinking subtract 360 or maybe add it if I have to. But in this case, subtract 360. I get 110. Now, should I subtract 360 again? Let's take a look. I'm at 110. Come on. 110. All right, I'm going to just go Hulk here in a second. 110 minus 360. That angle is also coterminal. The problem is, doesn't follow my directions, does it? Because the direction said smallest positive coterminal. So that is where I stop, to 110 degrees. And then finally, what's your reference angle for 470? What's your reference angle? Remember, you did the hard work already. You did the hard work. You know it's 110. So find the reference angle for 110 instead of 470. We've been doing the same thing all along here for an angle in the second quadrant. Katie, got it? And reference angle for 470, 110. And I'm just calling on people who aren't here today, huh? I swear I saw her log on. All right. How about Dan instead? What do you got for my reference angle, Dan?
12.
12. 12? How you
Yeah.
getting 12?
Oh, wait, no, I mean 70. I don't know
70.
where to 12.
Yeah. Good job. Anything from you guys there? We're all good? Comfortable so far? All right, some of these stuff you guys can do on your own and look up the answers on Classroom. I'm comfortable with that. Can you cross out number 10 for me? Cross out number 10 because I told you I took the 30, 60, 45, 45 off. Okay, so it looks like I got time for one more, and that's going to be number 12 with you. Number 12. Look at it right off the bat. Circle with a radius. I already know what I'm going to use, right? Theta equals S over R. I just got to figure out where to plug in everything. If you guys want a visual display here, I got a radius of 2 and an angle of 100 degrees. What's the arc length? What's the arc length? All right, here we go. Let's open it up to you guys to finish this off strong. Here we go. Caroline, going to you. What's my theta here? What's my angle measurement?
100.
Okay, yes, but everyone, hey, whoa. You are not plugging in 100 for theta. Theta is for an angle that's in radians. So you cannot use any degrees in that formula. So what do I suggest you do? Go off to the side. Take 100 degrees and convert it into radians. Okay, you cannot use 100 in for theta. Okay, what are you multiplying by? What's it say to multiply by to go from degrees to radians? Okay. Mason, what do I have to multiply by?
Pi over 180.
Good job. We talked already today in the first problem. Leave the pi in your answer. And now go to your calculator and reduce 100 over 180. Five pi over 9. That is what's going to go in for theta. 5 pi over 9. And finally, with somebody, where do I plug that 2 into now? S or R? Where do I plug 2 centimeters in for? S or R in this problem? Here you go. Ella, where should I be plugging 2 centimeters in for?
Would it be R?
That's the radius length. Yep. So you plug it in for R, solve it for S. And you can put an S there. You can put an X. I don't care. An A, a B, whatever. Float your boat. A happy face. All right. How do I solve for S now? Anybody want to open up their mic and a suggestion to solve for S to finish this?
Multiply both sides by 2.
Okay. Let's multiply both sides by 2. By 2. And now I should have gave you rounding directions. I'll go nearest hundredth here. Nearest hundredth. So 2 times 5 pi over 9. And that's probably where we're going to end up finishing there. Uh, 3.49 when I multiplied in my calculator. I didn't get to it. Highly recommend you try, if any problem, you're going to try out 13, the last one. Okay? Make sure you know how to do something like that. Be here at 2:15 today, guys. All right? 2:15. You guys know the setup I'm looking for tomorrow. Test opens up at 11:10. See you then.